So easy.
Oh, come on, that was perfect.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. And I'm not sure how I feel about this video because Brad's going to talk to you guys a little bit about spare shooting today. Stay tuned. All right, Brad, so spare shooting, that's the dirty work. That's the work that no one wants to do, no one wants to practice. Everyone just wants to throw strikes.
I'm in that boat.
You are. I think we're all good in that boat sometimes. We go to the center, we just want to throw shots, get lined up, see how many pins we can knock down, but no one practices their spares. Well, guys, those parents, those coaches, everyone that always told you to shoot spares growing up, they were not wrong. We're going to teach you guys some strategies on how to pick spares today, but one of the main things we want to emphasize is that there's no right way, there's no set in stone way on how to pick any particular spare. Now, there are some ways that optimize your chances of picking it. For instance, if you're shooting at a double wood, it's good to hook into it because that increases your chances. It's a lot easier to do that than to go straight. But if we have a 10 pin up there, if we have a 7 pin up there, if we have a 4 pin up there, there's no set way to pick it. We're not telling you that you have to stand here, you have to look at that, and that's how you pick the spare. It's all about how you see the lane and what is comfortable for you. So now we've kind of talked about that, there's no set way. Brad, what is, how do we get a spare shooting strategy? What are some strategies we can use? And then maybe we'll walk through your strategy a little bit.
You know, you're absolutely right. Like you're a good spare shooter and you have your way of doing everything.
Right.
I'm a better spare shooter and I have my way of doing everything. Like it's just, you know, I had to go there. Listen, I want to tell you, I want to get close to the camera for this. When you throw a strike shot, you have a lot to worry about. You have the oil, you have the traffic, the bowling ball, the pins, the structure of the pins, all this stuff you have to think about to throw a strike. When you throw a spare, it is the exact same way every single time. It's like you going into your job. If you do it for 5 years, you're probably pretty good at your job, right? But we think so much about bowling balls and oil patterns and pins that we just forget about that dirty work. You're correct. Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about when becoming a good spare shooter is you want to take everything out of play. You want to make it as simple as possible, and the simplest way, to an unpopular opinion, is throwing it straight. Like, yes, it is sometimes easy to hook at them, and you know, and sometimes we do that, and sometimes there's a warrant for you to hook at them or to play some kind of shape. But if you're bowling on television, what would you rather have? A strike to win or a spare to win? Like, the spare to win is the harder one.
Is it a 4 pin or not?
That's why you just want everything to be simple. Yeah, you don't want to shoot at a 4 pin. But that's why you want everything to be as simple as possible. So we want to go straight at them. And the best thing about that is it's the same thing over and over. It's just pure repetition. That's all it is. There's no thinking outside of it. That's the beauty of spares, but yet they're kind of the hardest part, right?
Well, it's just, like you say, it's a dirty work. You gotta, I mean, you get to a point where you just have to practice them. It's not fun to practice them. It's not glorious. People aren't gonna be like, wow, great job at picking that 10 pin, but you just gotta pick them all the time. So Brad, why don't we walk through your strategy a little bit? Walk us through a couple different spares, where you stand, where you look, and your strategy on how you're trying to pick them.
Okay, so let's just point out the corner pins, right?
Okay.
So if I leave a
7
7
pin and 10 pin.
a 7 pin and 10 pin, my strategy personally is I try and create the most amount of angle possible. There's a lot more oil in the middle part of the lane than there is on the outside part of the lane. So I try and eliminate the outside part of the lane as possible because I know what my ball is going to do in oil. It's going to go straight. And so if I'm looking at a 7 pin, I'm lining up as far to the right as I possibly can to try and create as much angle into the 7 pin as possible to keep the ball in the middle of the lane the longest.
And you're standing, and every time you shoot a 7 pin, you're standing on that same board.
Exact same spot. I mean, it doesn't matter if we're bowling here, in Jamaica, for a title. It's all the same 7 pin. It's all the same thing. So it doesn't matter the oil pattern, 20 feet, 50 feet, if you throw straight out of it, all that stuff doesn't matter. It actually makes it easier, even though sometimes throwing straight out of it can seem a little bit more
all right, so let's put the pressure on here. Now that we got it rolling.
So what do you want me to do? Take the 7 pin off clean?
Well, I mean, you can try, but I'd just like you to pick it.
Okay, so I'm standing all the way over to the right, and my goal is just to kind of get it into the middle of the lane and let it feed over
your
to
left
the
foot,
side.
you're lined up on, what is that, 5? What is that, 5?
10.
That's 10. You're
So
lined up on 10.
The middle of my left foot is lined up on board 8. It's the same thing every single time.
And what are you looking at
Okay.
the arrows?
I'm looking at third arrow.
Third arrow.
And then just go. Okay.
Well, I guess you might have nicked it.
I've
but
nicked it. That was
we-
missed a little bit of right. But see, that's the thing. When you do throw straight at him, there is miss room.
There is miss room.
You have what's the term? You have the entire circumference. You have half the lane to pick up a single pin. You actually have half of the lane in space to pick up a single pin outside of the 10 and the 7. So there's plenty of room to pick up.
And I want to point out another reason that, there's not a set place to stand and look, especially standing, is because people's approaches are different. If you're someone that drifts left or drifts right, you're going to have to stand somewhere else. Then, like me and you, we have different footwork. I probably drift a little bit farther left than you, and I can't stand an 8 and look there because my angles are going to be different. So it's one of the things that everyone's game is a little bit unique. That's why you have to tweak it. So if you have someone out there that says you have to stand here, you have to look here, well, that's just not right. You got to be able to tweak that to what's best for your game. So let's re-rack this real quick and let's get a 10 pin up there. Or why don't you shoot? Would you go straight at this? So okay. We got a different spare. So you have let's act like, just pick this going straight. How would you shoot at this?
Well, I just go dead straight at it. So I would line up directly in front of it because you got to hit the front one, obviously. And the front one's going to go into the 8 pin, and then the 3 pin's going to go into the 9 pin, and you kind of want the ball to go in between all of them, right? You don't want to hit it off to the left, and you don't want to hit it off to the right. You want to go dead center. So I would just line up dead center and throw a dead center shot.
Yeah, let's try it. And he might not go straight at this, or in competition. This is probably something that you may hook at, but it's good to know that if you leave some kind of variation, this is how I would go straight at this spare when you're trying to improve your spare game.
Yeah, listen, if you're extremely confident because the pattern's easy that you can get to the pocket, to the head pin, sometimes hooking it is okay. But if this is imagine this is the hardest pattern we've bowled on all year right now, and you can't miss left or right on your strike shot, are you going to be comfortable shooting the spare? No. That's why you just take everything out of play and you throw it dead straight.
Make it as simple as possible. So now the real pressure's on.
Line up dead straight.
They almost flagged the 7.
Ah, this is easy.
This is easy. So easy.
Oh, come on, that was perfect.
That was pretty good, I'm not going to lie.
Don't throw straight at spares, I promise. No, I'm just kidding. That's one of the more unfortunate things of bowling is sometimes things just happen. You execute a play into a tee.
Just whip the spare. That was unfortunate. But again, you wouldn't throw straight at that, but that was probably your best. If you were going to throw straight at it, that was a good way of doing it.
I executed exactly what I wanted to do. I took everything out of play. I hit my mark. It was very simple. I wasn't trying to do anything out of the ordinary that could greater my chances of missing that spare. That was just unlucky.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens. There's going to be plenty of times where you execute everything perfectly and you just don't quite get it.
So guys, when you're developing your spare shooting strategy, remember that it's a very individualized thing. Figure out a strategy that works for you. Again, when we shoot at corner pins, we like to go cross lane. We know guys like Dom Barrett and guys like E.A. Tackett, they go straight up the lane at the 7 pin. If I do that, I'm very uncomfortable. Yeah. So make sure you develop a strategy that's comfortable for you. Shoot straight at your spares. Make it as simple as possible, as easy as possible, and practice.
I just want to say that you don't have to overcomplicate in the way you throw it. You don't have to throw it hard. You don't, because the harder you throw it, the easier it is to lose balance. Spares are just a game of repetition. Just do the same thing over and over again, and that ends with a good balanced position every single time. If you try and throw it too hard, it can throw off your balance and you can miss some spares. Just make it as easy and simple as possible. Just the best way to repeat it, and that's going to make your spare shooting better.
All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. And if you enjoyed this video and want more tips like this, please check out the free gift below where we give you a drill that not only we use, but all of our students use. It's called the 7 arrows drill. It's a drill that's going to help you improve your versatility, and it's something that we are practicing all the time. So click the link below, check out that free gift. We'll see you guys later.